Not all advice is good advice, especially if you have ADHD. In fact, there are some common advice that can do more harm than good. Coach Murphy here, Dr. Murphy, executive function coach, owner of Effective Ever Consulting, 20 plus years serving, supporting, teaching, coaching those with neurodiverse challenges. And I'm going to share out 3 common statements or advice that you should just stay away from, but I'll also talk about what you can do instead. Advice number 1, just focus. Well, we all know those with ADHD are excellent at focusing, especially hyper-focusing on the things that we're passionate about and super interested in, yet it can be overwhelmingly hard to focus on what you're not interested in. And I think it's important to understand that just focus isn't advice at all. It's actually probably insulting because it oversimplifies the challenges that people with ADHD face. For someone with ADHD, maintaining focus is not a matter of willpower. It's a neurological challenge. And so it's important to recognize this and to support and appreciate that challenge. ADHD affects the brain's ability to regulate attention and focus. And you can go into the National Institute of Mental Health, and you can see that individuals with ADHD experience a 40% reduction in activity in the brain's prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for focus and attention. So it requires an overwhelmingly amount of effort in order to focus like typical peers. So it isn't really a game of focus, but there are alternative strategies that many people with ADHD try to utilize in order to improve their focus. And we have to appreciate that. Using timers, distraction-free environments, breaking tasks down into manageable parts. These are great strategies to improve focus. And those that are trying to live their best life with ADHD are doing just that. They don't need to hear the advice of just focus or work hard, smarter, whatever it is. They just need support, and they need maybe guidance and individualized attention to how they can use strategies to maximize their effort, maximize their focus in those times when they just have to get stuff done. Now let's tackle a quick example. So Alex, a client of mine from years ago, really, he struggled with getting stuff done in terms of schoolwork. And he would have been pretty insulted by someone saying just focus, because he's trying to focus. But the challenge for Alex is he wasn't really trying to use strategies to improve his focus. He was just sitting there inattentively staring at the page or at the work and really not trying to manage that focus in a work smarter, not harder way. Instead of just staring at the paper, right, or staring on his phone when he's supposed to be getting his work done, he started to implement specific strategies like writing down the top 3 things I got to get done, or using a timer and say for the next 20 minutes I'm going to grind through whatever I can grind through, and I'm going to hit the stop and move on to something else or take a quick break. Those are really powerful strategies just to initiate work and to get your mind engaged in the work and a sense of kind of urgency, and also giving your brain something to focus on by writing down a couple of the tasks. That worked for Alex. It didn't solve the problem. He still had ADHD, but he's trying to help initiate the tasks in a more conscientious way versus just trying to force himself to focus, and that's not always a good strategy, right? Advice number 2, get organized. Easier said than done, right? For many people with ADHD, getting organized actually is pretty achievable. Just kind of getting things in a place that represents order can be achievable. Maintaining those systems can be problematic, and those may require more consistent strategies in order to maintain organizational systems. But just saying to someone, get organized, is far easier said than done for people with ADHD. Also, because many of those people with ADHD may have executive function challenges, which make creating and maintaining organizational systems difficult, getting overwhelmed looking at a space and trying to break down that space into manageable organizational parts can be overwhelming for someone with executive function challenges. So people with ADHD and or executive function challenges do benefit from specific strategies and specific tools to allow them to not only initiate an organizational process, but also being able to maintain those processes over time. Working with someone to help build those systems and processes, it can be extremely beneficial and extremely rewarding, but also starting small, just picking the first thing I can do. Like if I have a messy kitchen, the first thing I can do might be just wash the dishes, maybe just empty the dishwasher, and just starting small. Even though I have other kind of chaotic, disorganized parts of the kitchen, starting small is a good place to start. And that can take the same thing for a student in terms of organizing their backpack. Just start small, pick one subject to reorganize. Maybe it's math because that has a thriving binder and there's papers I can just figure out which ones to keep, which ones to get rid of. And that could be a really core specific thing I can do in order to initiate a getting organized process for myself. Hope this strategy helps. Okay, problematic advice number 3, try harder. Well, if you truly understand what it means to live with ADHD, you realize that most people with ADHD are trying hard. So it's not about try harder, because the issue isn't really about motivation or willpower. It's a brain process that impacts motivation and task initiation. And so to say just try harder can be somewhat damaging. And you can go into the research to explain this a little better. We all know Dr. Russell Barkley. Well, in 2012, he showed that ADHD affects the brain's reward system. And so making it harder for individuals to feel motivated by tasks that are not immediately rewarding. This is why trying harder doesn't address the root cause. What you need in order to just get things done and to initiate tasks is you definitely need strategies, because you still have to get things done, right? And so the try harder doesn't work, but other things can. Positive reinforcement can work. Just using reward systems that actually mirror your profile personality can be extremely helpful. Also, breaking tasks into smaller parts. Just pick the first thing I can get done right away and get started. That can start momentum. Think about emptying the dishwasher, right? I don't want to do the dishwasher. It's just a monumental task. Empty the dishwasher, I don't want to start. But if I just open it and just start with the silverware, then it starts the whole process of getting the whole thing done, and you've kind of tricked yourself into action. In the workplace, working harder isn't the solution, and we all know that. You have to have strategies to plan things out. You have to have strategies to break down those projects, do in a week, into manageable parts. I can't sit there and expect that just working harder is the answer, right? We're already working hard enough. So this is where this type of shift in recognizing and appreciating just how difficult it can be to be productive with ADHD, and just how important it is to match yourselves with strength-based strategies in order to maximize performance and outcomes. Okay, these are 3 common pieces of advice. I'm just going to kind of recap. So the just focus advice, the get organized advice, and the try harder advice, they don't work. What does work is effective strategies that match your personal styles, personal profiles, strengths, interests, and goals. So this is important to recognize. In terms of what we do and how we do it and how we can help, well, anyways, if you're liking these videos and you're really feeling connected to our message and what I'm saying, please feel free to schedule a time to connect with me, Dr. Murphy, and let's talk about your needs and how coaching can help. All the best to you on your journey.